UFC 319 is live from Chicago, Illinois this Saturday night. I'm going to go over my picks for the main card, starting with the first card, working my way up to the main event. UFC 319, du Plessis versus Chimaev. Let's get into it. First card of the night, Tim Elliott versus Kaya Sakura. To be honest, I think this is going to be a one-sided fight. Kaya Sakura is just going to bring it to Elliott. I know Tim Elliott's known for doing some crazy things in the octagon. I personally think this is just going to be a striking fest from Kaya Sakura. I believe he's going to keep him at distance, a lot of kicks. I honestly think he's going to finish him late in the first round with something phenomenal, like a flying knee, a spinning back kick, something like that. Sakura really didn't get to show his true skills when he fought Pantoja, but Pantoja's really on a tear. I don't see anybody really taking Pantoja out. So Kaya Sakura, he really didn't get to show his true skills. If you've seen any of his fights in Ryzen, he's a phenomenal striker, and I really think he's going to get this done, and he's going to get it done quite early. He'll get it done on the feet, as he is, world-class striker. So I think he's going to keep him at distance, probably minute 4, towards the end of the first round. I think he'll get it done. And it will be something like in spectacular fashion. And I think Tim Elliott, it won't be a TKO. I think he will be KO'd flat on the canvas. So that's what I think. I really don't have much to say about that fight. I really want to get into this next fight. It's Jared Cannonier versus MVP. Now, this does have a potential to be a stink fest. I could see this fight going 2 different ways. I could really see them just, standing there, MVP just bouncing, keeping the distance, barely throwing any strikes, kind of like he was versus, who was it? Kevin Holland. Just kind of sitting there and not throwing much. Hopefully, Jared Cannonier gets in there, closes the distance, gets in the clinch, makes it a dirty fight. I think it has the potential to be an exciting fight. If they actually bring the fight to each other. But that's yet to be seen. I could kind of see MVP staying at distance, bouncing, throwing a 2. Bouncing, throwing a 2. Bouncing, throwing a 1. Bouncing, throwing a 1-2. Like he normally does. But, Jared Cannonier is older. I think he's 40 or 41 years old. I really like Jared Cannonier. I'd like to see him get the victory. I just don't see it happening. I think Cannonier is plus 144, dog. MVP's a minus 186. Like I said, this really could be a stink fest. Let's hope not. Let's hope that they bring the fight to each other. If Cannonier would get it done, I think he would get it done by making this a real grimy fight. Getting in close, getting in the clinch. A lot of dirty boxing, getting him to the ground, some ground and pound, just kind of getting on top from side control and just kind of holding him there and dropping little elbows. And I could see him getting it done that way and squeaking out a decision. I don't see anybody getting finished in this fight personally. I hope it goes out, with Cannonier winning and it really being a fight. But to be honest, I really think it's going to be a stink fest. I think MVP will just keep the distance and keep bouncing and throwing that too. It's since he's come over from Bellator, MVP, he really hasn't shown what he can do. In Bellator, he had a lot of spectacular finishes, flying knees, head kicks, all types of stuff. I mean, he really hasn't done much here. The UFC kind of got him late. He's out of his prime. I'd like to see a lot more from MVP. He'll probably have a great walkout. He'll dance. He'll do all that. But he might squeak out a victory. But it won't be spectacular. It'll probably be extremely boring. Or it'll be a grueling fight where Cannonier gets the best of him and kind of just overpowers him on the ground, holds him there, elbows, hammer fist, things like that. But, could go either way. Stink fest, or it could be a brawl. Let's hope it's a brawl, but to be honest, I highly doubt it. So, Jared Cannonier, come on, get this one done for me. All right? Next fight is Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates. Now this could be an interesting fight. I think Carlos Prates is a minus 265. Jeff Neal's a plus 200. Jeff Neal is good on the feet. He's got great boxing, great foot movement. Carlos Prates, fighting nerds. He's been doing great lately, other than that loss to Gary. So we'll see how this one goes. Personally, I think it'll be kind of evenly matched on the feet in the first round. I think they'll kind of go back and forth striking. I don't see this one going to the ground at all. I think Jeff Neal will kind of, get his boxing going a little bit. Carlos Prates will, kind of throw some kicks to the body, throw some 1-2s, throw some leg kicks. I think as the fight goes on, Carlos Prates will start to take over. He'll try to get in close. He'll try to use that clinch. He likes to use that clinch. He'll try to pull him in and kind of hit him with those elbows. I think he does a great job at getting in close and hitting people with those elbows. It's kind of, I love watching him do that. He comes in and really hits you with those elbows. It's really fun to watch. I hope that he gets this done. I think Prates will finish Jeff Neal in the second round, personally. I think halfway through the round, he will catch him coming in, and he will catch him with an elbow. I think he'll hurt him pretty bad. Jeff Neal will start to fall backwards, and Prates will go in for the kill. I think it will be a TKO stoppage, but that's how I see it going. It'll be a fight that's on the feet, kind of a stalemate, Neal boxing, Prates body kick, stuff like that. And then, like I said, he'll catch him coming in, and he'll catch him with an elbow. He'll rock him really bad, and then he'll go in for the finish. Prates will take this one in the second round. I'll say in the third minute of the second round, he'll catch him, and he'll win by TKO. Now, this next fight is really interesting. I am a really big Aaron Pico fan. I watched him a lot when he was in Bellator. He didn't fight anywhere else besides Bellator and PFL, technically. But he had a lot of really good fights in Bellator. I remember when he started his career, his first fight, he had a lot of hype, and he got guillotine choked. But just a quick story there. But, big fan of Aaron Pico. He has great boxing. I remember when he started, he had great boxing, and then he had really good wrestling, but he didn't really know how to mix the two in. And then, I think he went out to Arizona, had the same coaches as John Jones. And, he went out there and he pulled everything together. He's boxing, right to a takedown, really mixed everything up really good. He's an incredible fighter, so I'm a really big fan of Aaron Pico. So this fight, this is a really dangerous fight for him. And, all these guys coming over from Bellator, they haven't had the greatest success in their first UFC fight. I mean, other than Michael Chandler, who came in and got a finish in his first fight. A lot of guys really haven't had a lot of success. So I'm hoping the bright lights aren't too bright for him, because I think Aaron Pico's, peak, sky is the limit. And I think he's 28 years old. I don't even think he's in his prime yet. So I think Aaron Pico could do, many great things in the UFC, and I think he will be a world champion one day. Unfortunately, his first fight is versus Murphy, and he's a tough competitor. Really great striker. I mean, fundamentally sound. He's just, fundamentally sound. Watching his striking, it's like he makes no mistakes. He's just popping them and throwing the 1-2s and throwing his combinations, and he just looks flawless. Murphy's a plus 114 underdog. Pico is a minus 146 favorite. But this fight, it really should be a coin flip. There's no telling how this could go. I could see Murphy really stinging Pico, and I think he has some decent power. He could sting Pico, and Pico might get a little gun shy to throw. But Aaron Pico does have quite a bit of power in his hands, and his boxing is top tier. Pico also has, like I said, top tier wrestling. He's been wrestling his whole life. So he could definitely get his hands on him and get him to the ground. But this is going to be a very tough fight for both guys. I know Murphy is ranked. Pico is not ranked. This is his first fight in the UFC. But this one is really tough to call. I would love to see Aaron Pico get the victory. But Murphy might play spoiler. So this fight, I'm really up in the air. I've been going back and forth all week. I don't know how this one's going to play out. To be honest, I think it's going to be a back and forth fight the whole time. I don't think either guy is going to get a finish. I actually think this one is going to go to decision. I really don't. I don't know who I want to pick. I could see Murphy getting it done, but it's tough to call this one. But I'm an Aaron Pico fan. I'm gonna say Pico gets it done by decision, 29-28. And he goes on to. I mean, if he gets this done, he could go and fight for the title next. I mean, I think he's right there. He was a top guy in Bellator. He comes over, he gets a victory. I mean, if he finished Murphy, he could definitely go and fight for the title next. But I think he's going to have to really show how tough he is and how good he is. And if he could get a decision, a 30-27, he'll definitely go and fight for a title. 29-28, they might have to get another fight to fight for the title. But I think they're putting him in a position for Pico. The world is his right now. If he gets a victory here, he could go and he could fight for that belt next. And I really do think Pico will be a champion in the UFC one day. I just think he has a really tough fight here, especially for his first fight in the UFC. But I'm going to go Aaron Pico by decision, 29-28. All right, now let's get into it. What we're here for, the main event. Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. Okay, this fight has been in the works for a while. It is finally here. Dricus du Plessis is the underdog. He's plus 164. Khamzat Chimaev is the favorite at minus 215. That's a little crazy to me, to be honest. Can't believe Dricus is the underdog. But Khamzat, from what we've seen, he's a monster. He's undefeated. We know he's going to wrestle in this first round. He's going to come out guns blazing. This fight could go two different ways. What I think is going to happen, I think the fight's going to start. Khamzat's going to come out guns blazing. He's going to shoot a takedown in the first 25 seconds, probably even quicker. I think he's going to take du Plessis down. Can he hold him down? Can he hold him down? Can he get to the back? Can he get the neck? Can he finish him? That's going to be the question. That's what he's going to go for. I think he's going to, I don't want to say empty the tank because they're talking about, he's working with, Sam Calavito and all this, and he's been working on, working on his endurance, working on his cardio. Let's see if he really has been. From what you hear behind the scenes, before weigh-ins, he's eating, he's sneaking water, he's missed weight a few times. This makes me the most nervous. Biggest fight for Khamzat Chimaev, is the scale. Can he make the weight? Is he going to make the weight? And if he doesn't, how is this card going to go? I mean, it's a pretty decent card, but without this main event, what does this card look like, And I don't think Khamzat will ever get another chance if he misses weight. So he must make weight for this fight. He must. But Khamzat is going to come out in this first round. He is going to go for the takedown. Now, he is known for shooting from feet away. And I don't know how he always does it. All he needs to do is grab a leg, and he's going to get you down. But du Plessis is just, he's a fucking beast. He's a monster, okay? He's a big guy. I do not know if Chimaev is going to be able to hold him on the ground. Now, we know Khamzat wants to get him down, and get to the back. If he gets to the back, he's going to try to soften him up and try to get that choke. Now, it would be interesting if he got him in the same predicament as Whitaker and kind of got him in a rear naked choke, but his forearms right on his chin, and he just starts squeezing to see if du Plessis would tap or if he would just kind of man up and fight out of position and get out of there. Only time will tell. We'll see. But this fight could go either way. I think Khamzat, has the capabilities to finish this fight in the first round. And that would be, extraordinary. If Khamzat could come out in the first round and finish du Plessis, I mean, that would be incredible. And then the next question would be, how active is he going to be as a champion, Nobody knows because, what's he fighting? Once a year, if that? He gets ill, he gets sick, he's going to be out. He's had problem with weight cuts. What are we going to do, But like I said, there's two ways this fight could go. If Khamzat does not get it done in the first round, his chances of winning to me go down drastically each minute after that. Typically after 7 minutes, Khamzat's chance of winning are just going to decrease. And I think if he does not get it, done in the first 7.5 minutes, I do not think Khamzat will win this fight. Okay? So if Khamzat does not go out and get that first round finish, I do not see him getting the victory here. Okay? So, if he does not get this finish in the first round, I think du Plessis will slowly take over this fight. I think there will be a lot of back and forths. But ultimately, I think du Plessis would get the decision. I don't think, he could possibly get a finish in the later rounds. 3, 4, or 5, I could see him getting a TKO victory over Khamzat. But I don't know if I'm comfortable saying that. I would more likely say that he would get a decision victory over Khamzat. But we could see if Khamzat has that quit in him. What if he's gassed out in the late third, in the fourth, in the fifth? Is he gonna just say, "Hey, I'm done. I'm gonna tap out, or I'm just gonna cover up and TKO"? We're going to see what kind of dog he really has in him. Because one thing with du Plessis is there is no quit in him. He looks dog tired and he just keeps going. And there is no quit in this guy. And he just, runs at you full force, just swinging his chins in the air. You think he's going to get knocked out. And he just continues to move forward. And somehow he just keeps getting these victories. I never thought he would become a champion. He surprised me, but he is a phenomenal fighter. He's, he's not the most technically sound guy there, but he is a phenomenal fighter. He is a great champion, but this fight, it could go either way. Like I said, if Khamzat does not finish him within the first 7.5 minutes, I do not see Khamzat getting this done. I think du Plessis will get it done by decision, but he could possibly get him out of there in the later part of the third round or the fourth and fifth round. You know what? Leave your picks below in the comments. Let me know what you think is going to happen at UFC 319, and we will see who's right.